3 days after Catherine's funeral, her best friend Rachel called me. "James, come to my office. Now. Catherine left you something. Ethan can never know." Her voice wasn't sad. It was terrified. When I arrived, Rachel handed me a tablet. On the screen, a video was playing. My heart stopped. It was Catherine, alive, sitting in a room I didn't recognize. "James," she said, looking directly into the camera, "I'm sorry I had to do this, but our son tried to kill me, and now he's coming for you." The harsh truth. 96% of viewers will leave in silence. It's not that they weren't moved. They just think, who cares what I think? But every like, every subscribe, every comment is a voice that matters. If you want your voice to be heard, like plus subscribe plus comment, I'm here. The other 4% are always brave enough to speak up, and I know you're one of them. And to understand how it came to this, I need to take you back to where it all began. 3 days after I buried my wife Katherine, her best friend Rachel called me with a message that stopped my heart. "James, you need to come to my office right now. Katherine left something for you before she died. But listen carefully. Your son Ethan can never, ever know about this." Her voice was shaking, not with grief, with fear. I didn't ask questions. I grabbed my keys and drove, hands trembling on the wheel. When Rachel opened her office door and showed me what Katherine had left behind, I understood why. On the tablet screen in front of me, my wife, my dead wife, was staring back at me. She was alive, and she was about to tell me that our son was a killer. Let me back up. 3 days before that call, I'd buried Katherine after what doctors called sudden cardiac arrest. 42 years of marriage ended on a Tuesday afternoon while I was at the hardware store. I came home to find her collapsed in the kitchen, the tea kettle still whistling. The funeral was small. Our son Ethan flew in from Seattle an hour before the service, blamed traffic, didn't cry during the eulogy. His eyes kept darting to his phone. He left after 20 minutes, saying he had work calls. I'd noticed, pushed it away. People grieve differently, I told myself. Now, 3 days later, I sat alone in our Chicago house. February cold had settled in. Catherine's reading glasses still sat on the end table. Her book lay open on page 173. She'd never finish it now. The phone rang at 7 p.m. "James," Rachel's voice was tight. "I need you to come to my office, now, tonight." "Rachel, I don't think..." "Katherine left something with me before she died. Something urgent." She took a shaky breath. "You need to see this. And James, don't tell Ethan you're coming. Don't tell anyone." My pulse kicked up. Rachel Moore had been Catherine's best friend for 30 years, our family lawyer. She didn't use that tone lightly. "What kind of something?" "I can't say over the phone. Just come. My office downtown. I'll be waiting." The line went dead. I sat there, heart hammering. At 68, I could still feel that old soldier's instinct from Vietnam. Something was very wrong. I grabbed my coat and headed out. The drive took 30 minutes. Dark streets, gray slush, empty sidewalks. My mind raced. What could Katherine have left? A letter, documents, some final message? And why couldn't Ethan know? Rachel's office was in a renovated building near the Loop. I took the elevator to the 3rd floor. The hallway was dim, most offices closed. But Rachel's door stood ajar, light spilling out. I pushed it open. Rachel stood by the window, fear in her eyes. "James." She crossed quickly, took my hands. They were ice cold. "Thank you for coming. Katherine made me promise. If anything happened to her, I had to show you this immediately." "Show me what?" She walked to her desk and picked up a tablet, held it like it contained something dangerous. Before you watch this, I need you to sit down. Rachel, just sit down. Her voice cracked. I sat. Rachel placed the tablet in front of me. Her finger hovered over the screen. Katherine recorded this 6 months ago. Updated it 2 weeks before she died. She made me swear not to show you until after the funeral, until after Ethan had gone back to Seattle. 6 months ago. 2 weeks before she died. None of it made sense. Rachel, what? She pressed play. Katherine's face filled the screen. My breath stopped. She was alive on that screen, wearing the blue sweater I'd bought her for Christmas, her reading glasses on a chain around her neck. She looked tired but determined. "Hello, James," Katherine said. Her voice was steady. "I know this is a shock. I'm sorry for what I'm about to put you through. But I need you to listen carefully." I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. I'd watched them lower her casket into frozen ground 3 days ago. But here she was, speaking to me. "James," Katherine continued, 6 months ago, I discovered something that would destroy our family. I've spent every day since trying to figure out how to protect you." Her voice wavered. "How to accept that our son is not the man we thought he was. Our son. Ethan." Katherine looked directly into the camera, directly at me. "Ethan tried to kill me. And if you're watching this, it means he's already started planning to kill you too." My knees gave out. I grabbed the desk, gasping for air. Rachel caught my arm, but nothing could steady what I was seeing. Katherine. Dead 3 days. Alive on screen, telling me our son tried to murder her. "I know what you're thinking," Katherine said. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "You're thinking this is impossible, that Ethan would never—" She stopped, shook her head. "I thought that too, James. I was wrong." She leaned closer to the camera. 6 months ago, I found discrepancies in the Hoffman Insurance quarterly reports. Money transfers that didn't make sense. I dug deeper. Katherine held up documents to the camera. $1.5 million. Gone. Transferred over 2 years to an offshore Cayman account belonging to Ethan. The room spun. Rachel's hand tightened on my shoulder. "I didn't want to believe it," Katherine continued. "So I hired a private investigator. What he found." Her voice cracked. "Ethan has a gambling addiction. Online sports betting, high-stakes poker. He'd been losing for years." She set down the documents. "He owes $800,000 to Victor Russo, a Chicago loan shark. The kind who breaks knees before asking questions." I felt sick. Ethan, my son, my CFO, Ivy League educated, was a thief and a gambler. 4 months ago, I confronted him at his Seattle apartment, showed him the evidence. Her expression hardened. He cried like a little boy caught stealing, begged me not to tell you, said he needed help. She paused. I believed him. Told him we'd fix this as a family. Another pause. That's when his face changed. The crying stopped. Something cold came into his eyes. Something I'd never seen before. Katherine's voice dropped to a whisper. He said, "You're going to tell Dad. You're going to ruin everything I've built." I leaned closer, dreading what came next. I told him we'd handle it privately, but he didn't believe me. He said, Katherine's voice broke, "I can't let you ruin me, Mom. I can't let you destroy my life over some money." Rachel gasped beside me. I left Seattle thinking I'd gotten through to him. That being caught would snap him back. Katherine looked down. 3 weeks later, I started feeling sick. Nausea, fatigue, hair thinning. I thought it was stress. She looked back at the camera. "It wasn't stress, James. I was being poisoned. The word hung in the air. I had my investigator test everything Ethan touched when he visited. Katherine held up a lab report. Arsenic. Small doses in my morning coffee. The coffee Ethan made for me. My vision blurred. He was killing me slowly, making it look like heart failure. It runs in the family, right? No one would question it. Her voice hardened. But I did, and I found proof. Katherine reached off camera and held up a phone. I recorded our last conversation before I faked my death. You need to hear what your son said. She pressed play. Ethan's voice filled the office. Cold, flat, unrecognizable. You're sick anyway, Mom. This is mercy. You were going to ruin everything. I couldn't let you destroy my life over some money. I couldn't let you send me to prison. So yes, I put something in your coffee. And I'm not sorry. You should have just kept your mouth shut. The recording ended. Katherine's face reappeared, tears streaming down her cheeks. That's our son, James. That's who Ethan really is. The screen went dark for a moment. Then Katherine spoke again, her voice steadier now. I couldn't let him kill me and get away with it. So I found another way. She wiped her tears. I'm going to tell you how we're going to stop him. Together. The video paused. I sat frozen in Rachel's office, staring at the frozen image of my wife. My dead wife who wasn't dead. My son who was a murderer. And 72 hours that would determine whether I survived to see justice done. I don't remember the next few minutes. Rachel told me later I sat frozen, staring at the tablet, whispering, "No, no, no," like a broken record. But I remember Katherine's face on that screen. The tears. The way her voice steadied after playing Ethan's confession. Like hearing it again gave her strength instead of breaking her. I know what you're feeling, Katherine said, wiping her eyes. Disbelief, anger, grief. I felt it too. I'm still feeling it. She took a breath. But James, focus, because what I'm about to tell you is how we make this right. Rachel handed me water. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the glass. On screen, Katherine's face hardened. That old determination returned. The warrior I'd fallen in love with 42 years ago. After the lab confirmed arsenic, she said, I confronted Ethan again in Seattle. Gave him a chance to explain, to get help, to turn himself in. She shook her head. He laughed, James. Our son laughed at me, said I couldn't prove anything, that the arsenic could have come from old pipes, contaminated water, anywhere. She leaned closer to the camera. That's when I knew. He wasn't going to stop. He was going to kill me, collect the insurance money, then come after you for the business. My throat closed. Come after you. So I made a plan, Katherine continued. I contacted Dr. Marcus Chen. Remember him? Cardiologist. His daughter's wedding 3 years ago. I nodded at the screen. Marcus helped me get an experimental drug. It mimics cardiac arrest. Slows your heart to almost nothing. Puts you in a death-like state for several hours. Long enough to fool paramedics. Long enough to fool a coroner if the right people are involved. Jesus Christ, Katherine had faked her own death. 2 weeks ago, I increased my dose of arsenic, she said. Made myself sicker. Made sure Ethan saw me getting worse. Then last Tuesday, I took Marcus's drug. Made sure I was alone in the kitchen. Made sure you'd find me, I remembered. Coming home from the hardware store, the tea kettle whistling, Katherine on the floor, cold and still. I'd screamed, called 911, held her hand in the ambulance while the paramedic shook his head. It had all been theater. Marcus was the attending physician, Katherine explained. He signed the death certificate. Real enough that no one questioned it. Real enough that even you believed it. I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you. Couldn't risk Ethan suspecting, she paused. Right now, I'm in a safe location. Rachel knows where. Detective Richard Anderson knows where. But no one else. Especially not Ethan. Detective Anderson. I knew him. Fraud case 2 years ago. Good cop. Here's what happens next, Katherine said, voice sharpening. Tomorrow morning, a lawyer named David Walsh will read my will. A fake will I prepared for this trap. I looked at Rachel. She nodded. The will states I've left my entire estate to you. $5 million. Hoffman Insurance, the house, savings, everything. Katherine's eyes went cold. But there's a clause. You have to survive 6 months to claim it. If you die within 6 months, everything goes to Ethan. My blood froze. It's bait, James. Ethan will see that will, and know he has 6 months to kill you and make it look natural. Just like he did with me. She leaned forward. But this time, we'll be ready. This time, we catch him. Rachel squeezed my shoulder. Katherine's face softened. Just for a moment, she looked like the woman I'd woken up next to for 42 years. Tired. Sad. Still fighting. I know this is dangerous, she said quietly. But it's the only way. We need him to confess, on camera, on recording, evidence that will hold up in court. She reached toward the screen like she was trying to touch me. I love you. I've loved you since the day we met, and I'll see you again soon. But first, we have to stop our son. The video froze on Katherine's face. Rachel spoke beside me. There's more. But she wanted you to have a moment first. I stared at my dead wife's frozen image. How long? I asked, voice like gravel. How long do I have? Rachel's grip tightened. 72 hours. Victor Russo gave Ethan a 72-hour extension. After that, Russo's men come for him. She paused. That's when he'll come for you. Katherine's face on the tablet screen was calm now. Focused. James, I know this is overwhelming, but we have 72 hours to trap Ethan. Here's how. Rachel set a small black box on the table. Inside were 3 devices the size of shirt buttons. Recording devices, Katherine explained. 1 in your shirt pocket, 1 in the living room lamp, 1 in the kitchen smoke detector. Rachel already installed the kitchen and living room units this morning while you were here. The shirt device goes in your pocket tomorrow. She held up a basic Nokia phone. This is your lifeline. Rachel's number is programmed in. Text her twice a day, morning and night. If you're in immediate danger, text this exact phrase, "The roses need watering." Detective Richard Anderson will be monitoring the recordings remotely from a secure location. The moment Ethan confesses to poisoning me, stealing from Hoffman Insurance, or planning to kill you, Anderson moves in with a warrant. Rachel leaned forward. I'll check in twice daily. You don't answer, I call Anderson immediately. Katherine's voice softened. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., Talk attorney David Walsh will arrive at the house to read my will. It's fake, James. I worked with Rachel to create it. The will states that you inherit the entire estate, approximately $5 million, but only if you remain mentally competent for 6 months. If you die within that 6-month window, everything goes to Ethan. I felt my stomach turn. So he has to kill me within 6 months. No, Rachel said quietly. He has 72 hours. Victor Russo gave Ethan a 72-hour extension on his debt. That clock started this morning. Ethan has until Sunday midnight to either pay Russo $800,000 or deliver collateral. The only collateral he has is your estate. which means he needs you dead before Sunday. Catherine's eyes locked on mine through the screen. You have to let him try, James. You have to act vulnerable, grieving, weak. Let him move into the house. Let him cook for you. Watch what he does. Don't eat or drink anything he prepares. Dispose of it. If you feel threatened, use the panic code. And when he confesses? I asked. Anderson arrests him, Rachel said. We have enough circumstantial evidence to hold him for 48 hours, but we need the confession to make murder charges stick. Catherine's voice cracked slightly. I know what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to let our son try to kill you, but it's the only way to stop him. I stared at the screen, at my wife, alive. Okay, I whispered. I'll do it. The video ended. Rachel handed me the Nokia and the shirt device. Tomorrow morning, put this in your left shirt pocket. Keep it there at all times. Anderson is listening. I drove home in silence, rehearsing my role. The grieving widow, the trusting father, the easy target. When I unlocked the front door and stepped into the dark, empty house, I realized something. For the next 72 hours, I wasn't a husband or a father. I was bait. I woke the next morning to find Ethan sitting in my kitchen. He'd used his key, the one Katherine and I gave him 5 years ago. Now he sat at the table with 2 coffee cups, looking every inch the concerned son. Dad. He stood, crossed the room, hugged me. I made myself hug back. Made myself not think about the arsenic he'd put in Katherine's coffee. I couldn't leave you alone, Ethan said. His voice was warm, caring, perfect. Not until I know you're okay. The recording device was taped under my shirt. I wondered if he could hear it. That's kind of you, I said shakily. But you have work. You're more important than work, Dad. He gestured to the cups. I made your favorite, just the way Mom used to make it, just the way Mom used to make it. I looked at the coffee, dark, steaming, probably poisoned. My stomach's been upset since the funeral, I said. I can't handle coffee right now. Ethan's smile didn't waver, but something flickered in his eyes. Annoyance. Of course. How about tea? I'll make something later. I moved toward the living room, away from anything he'd touched. The doorbell rang at exactly 10 a.m. David Walsh stood on the porch in an expensive suit, holding a leather briefcase. The actor Rachel had hired to play Katherine's attorney. Mr. Hoffman, he said solemnly. I'm David Walsh, your wife's attorney. May I come in to discuss Katherine's will? Behind me, Ethan appeared. Dad, is everything okay? Katherine's lawyer, I said. About the will. Would you like privacy? Ethan asked. Family should be present, Walsh said before I could answer. Please, both of you, sit. We moved to the living room. Walsh opened his briefcase. Katherine came to see me 3 weeks ago to update her estate planning. Given recent health concerns, she felt it was prudent. 3 weeks ago, right after she confirmed the poisoning, every detail of this performance had been carefully planned. Walsh pulled out documents. Katherine's estate is valued at approximately $5 million. This includes Hoffman Insurance, your home, savings, and investments. Ethan leaned forward slightly, eyes fixed on the papers. The estate is left entirely to you, James, Walsh continued. However, Katherine included a competency clause. Competency? I asked, playing confused. If within 6 months you're deemed mentally incompetent by a licensed professional, the trust freezes for 10 years. But if you maintain competency for 6 months, you have full control of all assets. I watched Ethan from the corner of my eye. His jaw tightened, fingers tapped once against his knee. And if... Ethan cleared his throat. If Dad were to pass away within those 6 months? Walsh looked at him. Then the entire estate transfers to you, as Katherine's sole surviving heir. There it was. $5 million. 6 months. One old man in the way. Ethan's face remained sympathetic, but I saw the flash in his eyes. The same flash Katherine must have seen in Seattle. Greed. Cold, calculating greed. That won't be necessary, Ethan said, patting my hand. Dad's going to be fine. Aren't you, Dad? His hand felt cold on mine. I'll do my best, I said softly. Walsh gathered his papers. I'll file the documents with the court. James, if you need anything, call. He handed me his card. My condolences. Katherine was a remarkable woman. He left. The moment the door closed, Ethan stood. Dad, I've been thinking. I should stay here for a while. Help you through this. You shouldn't be alone. My heart hammered against the recording device. Exactly what Katherine had predicted. Ethan, you have your life in Seattle. My life can wait. You're more important. That perfect smile. I'll grab my suitcase from the car. I already checked out of my hotel. He'd already planned to move in. Before the will reading, before he knew about the money, which meant he'd been planning this from the beginning. I watched him walk to his rental car, pull out an overnight bag. Packed light. Wasn't planning to stay long. Didn't think he'd need to. My phone buzzed. The Nokia, a text from Rachel. Recording clear. All captured. Detective Anderson confirms. Be careful. 72 hours starts now. I looked up as Ethan came through the door, carrying his bag, smiling that perfect smile. My son. The stranger. The killer. Let me show you to the guest room, I said. 72 hours until either justice or death. The countdown had begun. Day 1. Ethan made me breakfast. The eggs were perfectly scrambled, fluffy and golden. The toast was buttered just right, cut diagonally the way Katherine used to do it. The orange juice looked fresh squeezed, pulp floating on top. And I knew, somewhere in that food, was something meant to kill me. You need to eat, Dad, Ethan said, setting the plate in front of me. He'd changed into casual clothes, jeans and a sweater, playing the part of devoted son perfectly. You've barely eaten since the funeral. You're losing weight. I was losing weight. Couldn't stomach food knowing my son was a murderer. But I couldn't tell him that. Thank you, I said. Picked up my fork. Made a show of cutting into the eggs. The recording device pressed against my chest under my shirt. I wondered if it could pick up my heartbeat. The rapid, terrified hammering. I raised the fork to my mouth. Let it touch my lips. Then pretended to chew while palming the eggs into my napkin. An old trick from childhood. Hiding vegetables I didn't want to eat. Except these weren't vegetables. This was poison. Good? Ethan asked. He was watching me. Careful, calculating. Delicious, I said. Took a sip of orange juice, held it in my mouth, then pretended to swallow while most of it went back into the glass. You always were a good cook. That was a lie. Ethan had never cooked for us before. Not once in 40 years. I'm glad you like it. He smiled, sipped his own coffee. Different cup from mine. I was thinking we could go through some of Mom's things today. Start sorting through the closets, if you're up for it. Maybe tomorrow, I said. I'm still tired. Of course. No rush. He gestured to my plate. But finish your breakfast first. You need your strength. I forced myself to take another fake bite. Then another. My napkin was filling up with eggs. I needed an exit. Excuse me, I said, standing up. Bathroom. I didn't wait for his response. Just grabbed my plate and headed down the hall. In the bathroom, I locked the door, scraped the eggs into the toilet, flushed, ran the water to cover the sound. My hands were shaking. I looked at myself in the mirror, tried to see what Ethan saw. An old man, 68, gray hair, lined face, weak, vulnerable, easy to kill. I thought about Vietnam, about being 19 and scared and convinced I was going to die in some jungle on the other side of the world. I'd survived that. I could survive this. When I came back to the kitchen, Ethan was washing dishes. My plate sat in the sink, most of the food still on it. "You didn't finish," he said. His voice had an edge to it, just barely noticeable. "Lost my appetite halfway through. Sorry, grief, you know." "Right." He turned off the water. "Grief." We spent the rest of the day in careful dance. Him suggesting activities, me declining politely, him offering to make lunch, me saying I'd eaten too much breakfast, him watching me, always watching. That evening, after Ethan went to his room, I checked the potted plant on the windowsill, the basil Katherine had been growing. I'd crumbled a piece of the scrambled eggs into the soil that morning when Ethan wasn't looking. The leaves had turned brown at the edges, wilted, dying. I took a photo with the Nokia, sent it to Rachel. Her response came immediately. "Don't eat anything he prepares. We're documenting everything. Stay strong. 1 day down, 2 to go." I looked at the dead plant, then at Ethan's closed bedroom door. 1 day down, 2 to go. I just had to survive 48 more hours. On day 2, I caught Ethan in my bathroom. It was 6 in the morning. I'd barely slept, listening to every creak of the house, every footstep in the hallway. When I finally got up, I heard water running in my master bathroom. I pushed the door open. Ethan stood at the sink, my prescription bottles lined up in front of him. He had one in his hand, a blood pressure medication I'd been taking for 5 years. The bottle was open. Several capsules lay on the counter, split in half. He spun around when he heard me. For just a second, his mask slipped. I saw panic. Then it was gone, replaced by that concerned son expression. "Dad!" "You startled me." He laughed. "Set down the bottle. I was just checking your medications, making sure you're taking everything correctly. Some of these interactions can be dangerous." I looked at the capsules. They'd been opened and resealed. Carefully, but not carefully enough. I could see the line where the two halves met, slightly off-center. "That's thoughtful," I said slowly. "But I've been managing my medications for years. I know." Ethan started gathering the bottles, putting them back in the cabinet. "I just worry. With everything going on, I want to make sure you're staying healthy." Healthy. The word tasted like acid. After he left the bathroom, I grabbed my phone, photographed the tampered capsules, sent the image to Rachel with one word: pills. Her response came 5 minutes later. "Don't take them. Send me the pill bottle. We'll have it tested. Pretend you took your morning dose." That evening, Rachel texted again. "Lab results. Sleeping medication. Lethal dose. Enough to stop your heart in your sleep." I stared at the message. Read it 3 times. Ethan had put enough sleeping pills in my blood pressure medication to kill me, to make it look like my heart had just given out naturally, just like Katherine's was supposed to have done. At dinner, Ethan watched me with those calculating eyes. "Did you take your blood pressure medicine this morning, Dad?" I kept my voice steady. "Yes, right after breakfast." "Good. That's good." He pushed a plate of pasta across the table toward me. "I made your favorite. Spaghetti carbonara." I looked at the plate, smelled the garlic and bacon. My stomach growled. I hadn't eaten a real meal in 2 days. had been surviving on crackers and water I kept hidden in my bedroom closet. "I'm not very hungry," I said. "You need to eat." Ethan's voice had that edge again, sharper this time. "You're wasting away. If you don't start eating, you'll end up in the hospital. Or dead," I thought. "Which is what you're counting on." "Just a few bites," I said. Picked up my fork, went through the same routine as breakfast, pretending to eat, palming food, napkin in lap collecting evidence. When I excused myself to the bathroom again, Ethan's eyes followed me, cold, assessing. That night, I lay in bed with my door locked. The deadbolt Katherine and I had installed years ago, back when we worried about break-ins, never imagining I'd need it to keep out our own son. Around 2 a.m, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate. They stopped outside my door. The handle turned, jiggled, locked. I held my breath. Ethan's voice came through the door, low and angry. "I know you're not taking your medication, Dad." I checked the pill count. "You're 3 doses behind." I didn't respond, didn't move. "You're making this harder than it needs to be," he said. The footsteps retreated. I grabbed the Nokia, texted Rachel. "He's getting frustrated, knows I'm not taking the pills. How much longer?" Her response, "1 more day. Hang on." Katherine says Victor Russo's deadline is tomorrow at midnight. Ethan will be desperate. That's when he'll confess. Just survive until then. I looked at my locked bedroom door. 1 more day, 24 hours. I could do this. I had to. Day 3. The phone call came at 3 p.m. I was in my bedroom, door locked, pretending to nap. Really listening to every sound, tracking Ethan's movements like a hunter tracking prey. I heard his footsteps move to the guest room. His door closed. Then, muffled through the walls, his voice, loud, desperate. I crept to the wall, pressed my ear against the plaster. "Victor, please." Ethan's voice was high, panicked. "I just need more time. 48 hours, that's all." Silence. He was listening. "I understand the terms. I know what I owe. 800,000. I have it. I'm getting it." His voice cracked. "My father has the money. The will was read 2 days ago. $5 million. I just need him to..." He stopped. No, please don't." Ethan's voice rose, then dropped to a whisper. "Victor, I'm begging you. Just 2 more days." Another pause. "Tonight?" Ethan sounded sick. "But that's impossible. I can't." The voice on the other end got louder. I heard it bleeding through. Angry. Threatening. "I don't care about your father's will. I don't care about your timeline. You owe me $800,000. Payment was due yesterday. You're on borrowed time." "I understand," Ethan said quickly. "I do. I'll have it. Tonight, I promise. You better. Because if you don't, my associates are coming to Seattle. They're starting with your kneecaps and working their way up. You understand me, Ethan?" "Yes. Yes, I understand. Midnight tonight. That's your deadline. After that, you're a dead man." The line went dead. I heard something shatter. Ethan had thrown his phone. Then came the sound of him punching something. Over and over. God damn it, God damn it, God damn it. I grabbed the Nokia, texted Rachel. Russo called. Deadline midnight tonight. Ethan desperate. Her response was immediate. "Perfect. This is it. He'll make his move today. Stay alert. Police ready." That evening, Ethan emerged from his room. Showered, changed, composed. The mask was back, but cracking. I could see it in his eyes. Wild. Cornered. Dad. His smile was too bright. "I'm making us a special dinner tonight. Steaks. I picked up a nice bottle of wine while you were napping. We should celebrate. Celebrate what? You. Your strength. Getting through this week. He headed to the kitchen. Sit down. Relax. Let me take care of everything. I sat at the dining room table and watched him work. Watched him open a bottle of wine. Expensive. $200 at least. Watched him pour 2 glasses. Watched him turn his back and reach for something in his pocket. My heart hammered. Was this it? Was he drugging the wine right now? But he just grabbed his phone, checked it, put it back. 20 minutes later, he set dinner in front of me. Steak, perfectly cooked, roasted vegetables, and that glass of red wine. To Mom, Ethan said, raising his glass. To her memory, I raised mine, clinked it, but when I brought it to my lips, I barely let the wine touch them. Ethan watched, waited. I set the glass down. It's good. You didn't drink it. I did. Just a sip. No. His voice went flat. You didn't. We stared at each other across the table. The pretending was over. I reached for the glass again, raised it, started to tip it toward my mouth. My hand slipped. The glass tumbled. Red wine splashed across the white tablecloth, across Ethan's shirt, across the floor. $200 worth of wine, gone. For 3 seconds, Ethan's mask shattered completely. Pure rage flooded his face. His hand shot out, grabbed the table edge so hard his knuckles went white. Jesus Christ, Dad. That was a $200 bottle. He was shaking, actually shaking with fury. Do you have any idea? He stopped, caught himself. The mask tried to slide back on, but it didn't fit anymore. I'm sorry, I said quietly. Let my voice tremble. I'm just so shaky lately. I don't know what's wrong with me. Ethan stood, threw his napkin on the table. I need some air. He stormed out, slammed the front door. I pulled out the Nokia, texted Rachel. He's breaking. Wine incident. Rage. Outside now. Her response, stay inside. Lock your bedroom door. Final night. He'll come for you tonight or tomorrow morning. Be ready. I looked at the spilled wine, at the uneaten steak. Hours until midnight. Hours until Victor Russo's deadline. Hours until my son became desperate enough to stop pretending. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. I lay in the dark with my hand on the Nokia, listening to every creak of the house settling, every distant sound that might be footsteps. The recording device was still taped to my chest. My bedroom door was locked, deadbolt thrown. It was the only thing between me and my son. Around 11, I heard Ethan come back inside. Heard him moving around downstairs, pacing, the same pattern, back and forth across the living room floor. Then silence. I checked my phone. 11:45. 15 minutes until Victor Russo's deadline. What would happen at midnight? Would Russo's people come for Ethan? Or would Ethan make one final, desperate move to get the money he needed? I knew the answer. I'd known it since Katherine's video, since that cold calculation in Ethan's voice on the recording. He was going to come for me. Midnight came and went. The house stayed silent. I started to think maybe I was wrong. Maybe Ethan had run. Maybe he'd packed his bag and driven to the airport, fleeing Chicago before Russo's men could find him. Then, at 2 a.m, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, coming toward my room. I held my breath. My hand tightened on the phone. The footsteps stopped outside my door. For 30 seconds, nothing. Just silence. I could feel him standing there, inches away on the other side of the wood. Then the doorknob turned, slowly, testing, locked. Dad? Ethan's voice came through the door, soft, almost gentle. You awake? I didn't answer, didn't move. Every instinct screamed at me to stay silent. I know you're awake. His voice changed, harder now, cold. I can see the light from your phone under the door. You've been texting someone, Rachel, probably. My blood ran cold. You know, don't you? Ethan said. You know what I did to Mom. What I've been trying to do to you. The doorknob rattled harder. He was pulling on it now, trying to force it open. You've been pretending this whole time, acting confused, acting weak. But you haven't eaten anything I've made, haven't taken your medication. You've been playing me. I grabbed the Nokia with shaking hands, typed out the panic code. The roses need watering, sent it to Rachel. Open the door, Dad. Ethan's voice was rising now. We need to talk. We need to figure this out. I can explain everything. The money, the gambling, all of it. Just open the door. I stayed silent. Open the door! He was shouting now, pounding on it with his fist. The wood shook but held. You don't understand. Victor Russo's people are coming. They're going to kill me. I need that money. I need you to... He stopped. I heard him take a shaky breath. When he spoke again, his voice was quiet, terrifyingly quiet. Fine. Have it your way. Tomorrow morning, Dad. Tomorrow morning. This ends. One way or another. The footsteps retreated. I heard his bedroom door slam. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Message received. Police are on standby. Detective Anderson is 2 minutes away. Katherine says, hold on. Just a few more hours. Another text came through immediately after. This one was from Katherine directly. Rachel must have given her phone access. James, I know you're scared. I know this is hard. But you're doing amazing. Ethan is unraveling. Tomorrow morning, he'll make his final move, and we'll be ready. I love you. I'm not losing you. Not to him. Not to anyone. See you tomorrow. I stared at those words. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow, I would see my wife again. My supposedly dead wife who'd risked everything to stop our son. Tomorrow, this nightmare would end. I just had to survive until dawn. I looked at my locked bedroom door, at the recording device on my nightstand, at the phone in my hand. Tomorrow morning, Ethan would come for me. And this time, he wouldn't knock. The next morning, I woke to find Ethan sitting at the foot of my bed, holding a gun. For a moment, I thought I was dreaming, but then I saw the gun catch the early morning light. Saw Ethan's finger resting against the trigger guard, a Smith & Wesson, 9mm. I'd bought it 15 years ago, kept it in a lockbox in my closet. Ethan had found it. Good morning, Dad. His voice was calm, too calm. Don't reach for your phone. Don't move. Just sit up slowly. My heart hammered against the recording device taped to my chest. Was it still working? I had to assume yes. Had to assume Rachel and Detective Anderson were listening. I sat up, kept my hands visible. How did you get in? My door had been locked. You think a bedroom lock could stop me? Ethan almost smiled. Picked it with a paperclip. 30 seconds. You were sleeping pretty hard. 3 days of not eating will do that. He gestured with the gun toward the door. Downstairs. Living room. Now. I climbed out of bed slowly. My legs felt weak. I'd barely slept, barely eaten, running on adrenaline and fear. Ethan followed me down the stairs, gun trained on my back. I could feel it. That cold circle of metal pointed at my spine. Sit. He indicated my armchair. The one I'd sat in every evening for 30 years. I sat. Ethan remained standing, pacing. The gun never wavered. He knew where to stand to keep me from reaching the door. You've been playing me, he said. Not a question, a statement, this whole time. Since the will reading, maybe even before. I didn't answer, kept my breathing steady. The recording device would pick up everything. Mom told you, didn't she? Ethan laughed without humor. Before she died, that's the only way you'd know to avoid my food, to not take the medication. He stopped pacing, looked directly at me. If Mom told you I was poisoning her, why didn't you go to the police? Why this game with the fake will? I met his eyes, my son's eyes, once bright with childhood wonder, now cold as a snake's. Because I wanted to give you a chance, I said quietly. One last chance to confess, to turn yourself in, to show even a shred of remorse. Something flickered across his face. Surprise or pain. Remorse, he repeated. You want me to feel sorry? For what? For surviving? For murdering your mother? The words hung in the air, heavy, final. Ethan's hand tightened on the gun. She was going to destroy me, ruin everything, send me to prison. His voice rose. I had no choice. Victor Russo's people would have killed me. They still might, unless I get that money. So you poisoned her coffee, watched her die slowly. I made it. Painless, he shouted. Arsenic in small doses. She just got tired, weak. It was merciful compared to what Russo would have done to me. Partial confession, but I needed more. And me? I asked. Your own father? What's your plan? Shoot me? That won't look like natural causes, no. He smiled. Cold. Empty. But you're a 68-year-old man with heart problems. High blood pressure. You just lost your wife. If you have a heart attack right now, no one would question it. He reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a syringe. Potassium chloride. Stops the heart instantly. Leaves almost no trace. By the time they find you, it'll look like grief killed you. My blood turned to ice. Very clever, I said. Buying time. You've thought of everything. I had to. You didn't leave me any choice. He stepped closer. If you'd just eaten the food, just taken the pills, this would have been easy. But you had to make it difficult. Why, Ethan? I kept my voice steady. Why the gambling? Why steal from the company? You had everything. For just a moment, his mask cracked. I wanted more. His voice broke. I wanted to be more than just your son. More than the guy who inherited a company. I wanted to build something, prove something. He raised the gun, leveled it at my chest. And you were in my way. I wanted more. Ethan's voice cracked. Is that so wrong? To want more than what I had? He was still pacing, gun in one hand, syringe in the other. A man cornered by his own choices. You gave me everything, he continued. Good education, good job. CFO of your company by the time I was 35. But it wasn't mine, Dad. It was yours. Your company. Your legacy. I was just managing it for you. So you stole from it, I said quietly. I borrowed from it. He spun to face me. I was going to pay it back. The gambling, it was supposed to be easy money. Double my investment. Triple it. Build something of my own. But then I started losing. And I kept betting, thinking the next one would be the big win, the one that would get me out of the hole. His hand was shaking now. The gun wavered. $1.5 million, Ethan. Over 2 years. I know! He was shouting now. I know exactly how much. Every dollar, every cent, and I would have paid it back if Mom hadn't found out. If she'd just minded her own business. There it was. Blame. Shifting responsibility. So you killed her, I said. She was going to tell you. She was going to call the police. She was going to destroy everything. Ethan's voice rose to nearly a scream. I begged her not to. I cried. I told her I needed help. And you know what she said? He stepped closer to me. She said she forgave me, that we'd figure it out together, that family sticks together. He laughed bitterly, but I saw it in her eyes. The disappointment, the judgment. She was lying. She was going to turn me in the moment she got home. So you put arsenic in her coffee. Yes! The word exploded from him. Yes, I put arsenic in her coffee. I watched her drink it every morning when I visited. I watched her get weaker and weaker. I watched her hair fall out. I watched her hands shake when she tried to hold her book. He was breathing hard now, the confession pouring out like poison from a wound. And you know what? She deserved it. She was going to ruin my life over some money. Money that would have been mine anyway when you both died. I was just taking my inheritance early. And me? I asked. What did I do to deserve this? Ethan's face twisted with rage and desperation. You're the same. This whole will thing, giving me 6 months to wait? You were testing me. You knew what I'd done, and you were dangling that money in front of me like bait. You're right, I said. It was bait. And you took it. His eyes widened. Understanding dawned. You've been recording this whole time. The conversations. He looked around wildly. Where? Where's the device? He lunged forward, grabbed my shirt, ripped it open. The recording device fell to the floor. Ethan stared at it, then at me, then back at the device. You bastard, he whispered. You set me up. No, I said. You set yourself up. I just gave you the rope. For a moment, I thought he might break down completely, might drop the gun and collapse. But instead, something cold settled over his features. Final. Resolved. Doesn't matter, he said. You're going to die anyway, and that recording dies with you. He raised the gun, pointed it directly at my chest. I loved you, he said quietly. Once, when I was a kid, before I understood how the world really works, before I learned that family is just another word for people who hold you back. His finger moved to the trigger. Goodbye, Dad. The front door exploded inward. Wood splintered. The crash was deafening. Black-clad SWAT officers poured through the opening like a flood. Police! Drop the weapon! Ethan spun, gun still raised. For a terrible second, I thought he might fire. Might go down shooting. Drop it now! Detective Anderson's voice boomed through the chaos. Ethan Hoffman, drop the weapon or we will fire. Ethan's hand shook. The gun wavered between the officers and me. It's over, Ethan, I said quietly. They heard everything, every confession, every word. His face went white. The gun slipped from his fingers and clattered to the floor. 2 officers rushed forward, kicked the weapon away, forced Ethan to his knees. His hands were yanked behind his back. Handcuffs clicked into place. No, he was saying, over and over. No, 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 this can't be happening. Victor Russo will kill me. They'll kill me in prison. No. Detective Anderson crossed to me. Mr. Hoffman, are you hurt? I shook my head. Couldn't speak. Couldn't process that it was over. An officer picked up the recording device from the floor. Detective, this got everything. Full confession to murder, attempted murder, embezzlement. It's all here. Anderson nodded. Then he turned to the door. You can come in now. And Katherine walked through the shattered doorway. Ethan's face drained of all color. He stared at Katherine like he was seeing a ghost. Because to him, she was no. His voice was barely a whisper. No, you're dead. I killed you. I watched you die. I went to your funeral. Katherine stood in the doorway, backlit by the morning sun. She looked tired. Older than I remembered, but alive. So beautifully, impossibly alive. You tried, she said quietly. Her voice was steady, cold. You failed. Ethan started thrashing against the officers holding him. This isn't real. She's dead. I made sure she was dead. Ethan Hoffman, Detective Anderson, stepped forward, pulling out a card. You're under arrest for the attempted murder of Katherine Hoffman, the attempted murder of James Hoffman, embezzlement of $1.5 million, and conspiracy. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. No, no, no. Ethan was shaking his head violently. Victor Russo, you don't understand. His people will kill me. They're coming for me. I need that money. I need it. Victor Russo was arrested an hour ago, Anderson said, on unrelated charges. He won't be bothering anyone for a long time. The fight went out of Ethan. He slumped between the officers, suddenly looking small, broken. You have the right to an attorney, Anderson continued. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. The officers started pulling Ethan toward the door. He looked back at Katherine one last time. Mom, he said, just that one word, like a child calling for help. Katherine's face didn't change. She looked at him the way you'd look at a stranger, someone you'd once known but no longer recognized. I don't have a son anymore, she said softly. They dragged him out. His voice echoed back through the broken doorway. I'm sorry. Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't have a choice. They were going to kill me. Then he was gone. The sound of car doors slamming, an engine starting, sirens fading into the distance. The house fell silent. Katherine and I stared at each other across the living room. 42 years of marriage, 3 days of her being dead, 72 hours of me living in fear. And now she was here, real, alive. James, she whispered. I stood up. My legs were shaking. I crossed the room and pulled her into my arms. She felt real, solid, warm. Her heart beat against mine. Her tears soaked into my shirt. My own tears came then. 3 days of grief that had been real even though she wasn't actually dead. I'm sorry, she kept saying. I'm so sorry I put you through this, but it was the only way. I know, I said into her hair. I know. Detective Anderson cleared his throat diplomatically. We'll need your statements, both of you, but that can wait until tomorrow. He gestured to the broken door. I'll have someone come fix that. And Mr. Hoffman, for what it's worth, you did good. Real good. That recording is the clearest confession I've heard in 20 years. He paused at the door. Your son is going away for a long time. Life, probably. With what we have on tape, there's no way he walks. After Anderson left, Katherine and I stood in our broken living room, holding each other, alive, together. But something had broken that could never be fixed. Not the door, not the house, our family. What do we do now? Katherine asked quietly. I looked at the spot where Ethan had stood with a gun, where our son had confessed to murdering his mother and trying to murder his father. Now we survive, I said, and then we face what comes next. What came next was paperwork, police statements, evidence collection. Detective Anderson walking us through the legal process step by step. What came next was a prosecutor building a case, a defense attorney making excuses, a judge setting a trial date. What came next was Katherine and I, side by side, watching the system decide what justice looked like for a son who'd tried to kill his parents. 3 weeks after that morning, we sat in a courtroom and learned the answer. 3 weeks later, I sat in the back row of a Chicago courtroom and watched my son learn what justice costs. Ethan Hoffman stood before Judge Margaret Sullivan in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs. His lawyer had tried everything: temporary insanity, coercion by Victor Russo, even a plea for mercy based on childhood trauma. None of it worked. The prosecutor laid it out clearly. 1 count of attempted murder of Katherine Hoffman. 1 count of attempted murder of James Hoffman. 1 count of embezzlement totaling $1.5 million from Hoffman Insurance Group. 1 count of conspiracy to commit fraud. The evidence was overwhelming. The audio recording of Ethan admitting he poisoned his mother. The video confession at gunpoint, where he detailed every step of his plan. The forensic accountant's report tracing every stolen dollar to offshore accounts. The testimony from Dr. Marcus Chen about the arsenic levels in Katherine's blood. When Judge Sullivan asked Ethan if he had anything to say, he stood silent for a long moment. Then he turned and looked directly at me and Katherine. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Katherine's hand tightened around mine. I felt her tears on my shoulder. But neither of us spoke. Judge Sullivan's voice was cold and clear. "Mr. Hoffman, you poisoned your own mother for 6 months. You planned to murder your father for an inheritance. You stole from the company your family built over 4 decades. This court finds no mitigating factors. I sentence you to 25 years to life in the Illinois Department of Corrections, with no possibility of parole for 20 years. The gavel fell. Ethan's shoulders collapsed. 2 officers led him away. He didn't look back. Outside the courthouse, Katherine and I stood on the stone steps in the February wind. Downtown Chicago stretched out before us, the same city where we'd met 43 years ago, where we'd raised our children, where we'd built a life. "Do you think he meant it?" Katherine asked quietly. "The apology?" I thought about the question for a long time. About the boy who used to build Lego castles on our living room floor. About the young man who gave the speech at our 30th anniversary. About the stranger who held a gun to my head and confessed to murder. "I don't know," I finally said. "But it doesn't change what he did." Katherine nodded. We walked down the courthouse steps together, her hand in mine. That night, we planted a white oak tree in our backyard. The same kind of tree we'd planted when Nicholas was born, when Sarah graduated college, when Ethan got his MBA. This one was for us, for survival, for the truth we chose over the lie, and for the lesson we learned too late. Sometimes the monsters we fear most are the ones we raised ourselves. If you're still listening to this story, thank you. I know it wasn't easy. Hell, it wasn't easy to live through either. My name is James Hoffman. I'm 70 years old now. It's been 2 years since that morning when my son held a gun to my head and confessed to trying to murder me and my wife. 2 years since Katherine came back from the dead. 2 years since we learned that the person we trusted most in the world had become the person we should have feared. People ask me all the time, how do you move on from something like that? The truth is, you don't. Not really. Katherine and I sold Hoffman Insurance Group 6 months after the trial. We couldn't walk into that building anymore without thinking about the $1.5 million Ethan stole, the lies he told, the lives he destroyed. We moved to a smaller house outside the city. Quiet neighborhood, good people. No one knows our story unless we tell them. We visit Ethan once a year, Katherine insists. I don't argue. He's serving his sentence at Stateville Correctional Center, 25 years to life. He'll be eligible for parole when he's 65. Maybe he'll get out. Maybe he won't. Every time we visit, he apologizes. Every time Katherine cries. Every time I stay silent. Because I don't know if I've forgiven him. I don't know if I ever will. But I do know this. Love isn't enough. We loved Ethan. We gave him everything: education, opportunity, trust, freedom. And he used every bit of it to try to kill us. So if you're listening to this story and you recognize yourself in it, if you have a child, a spouse, a friend who's lying to you, stealing from you, hurting you, please hear me when I say this. Love is not enough to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let them face the consequences of their choices. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Katherine and I are still here. We're still together. We're still healing. And that white oak tree we planted? It's taller than me now. Strong roots. New growth every spring. That's what survival looks like. Before you go, I have one request. If this story moved you, made you think, or reminded you of something in your own life, please leave a comment below. Tell me what you felt. Tell me what you learned. Tell me your story if you're ready to share it. And if you want to hear more true stories like this, stories about betrayal, survival, justice, and healing, please subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. Because the world is full of hard truths, and sometimes the only way through them is together. Thank you for listening. My name is James Hoffman, and this is my story.